The power of silence. Silence is one of the greatest strengths a human being can ever master, yet it is one of the most misunderstood. Many people confuse silence with weakness, passivity, or fear. They believe that when you stay quiet, you are surrendering or giving up. But the truth is far more powerful. Silence is not an absence of strength, it is the highest form of it. To remain silent in the face of noise requires control, patience, and deep awareness. It is far easier to lash out, to argue, to shout back, but it takes real mastery to stay calm, to hold your peace, and to let your silence speak louder than words ever could. Think about it. Arguments, gossip, negativity, and conflict all survive because they are fed by reactions. Every time you argue back, you give life to that conflict. Every time you explain yourself to someone who is determined not to understand, you drain your own energy. But the moment you choose silence, you cut off the fuel that keeps negativity burning. The fire cannot survive without oxygen, and in the same way, drama cannot survive without your response. Your silence becomes the end of the noise. Silence is not emptiness. It is fullness. It is presence. It is awareness. When you choose not to respond, you are not running away. You are rising above. You are protecting your inner peace, your energy, and your soul. And this choice shows incredible strength, because silence demands discipline. Discipline to know when to speak and when to simply let go. Discipline to trust that not every situation deserves your words, and not every person deserves your energy. In silence, you discover patience. And patience is a form of power that few people ever learn to master. The impatient seek immediate release. They shout, they react, they vent. But the patient know that silence is not a loss. It is a strategy. With silence, you give yourself time to NK, to observe and to choose wisely. You create space for truth to reveal itself without your interference. And often it is in that quiet space where the real answers arrive. Silence also connects you to the divine. When the world is noisy, when your mind is restless, it is in silence that you hear your higher self. It is in silence that you feel God, the universe, the presence of wisdom guiding you. Noise distracts, but silence awakens. The one who can remain silent in chaos is the one who has found true inner strength. So never mistake silence for weakness. The loudest person in the room is not always the strongest. The strongest is the one who can remain calm, collected, and grounded while everything around them tries to pull them down. That is the power of silence. And when you embrace it, nothing outside of you can shake what is within you. Protecting your energy. Every single day you are surrounded by people, situations, and environments that pull at your attention. Some people are uplifting and inspiring, but many are draining. There are those who feed on drama, conflict, and chaos. They thrive when they get a reaction from you, because your reaction gives them power. Your anger gives them control. Your frustration gives them satisfaction. But the moment you stay silent, their power begins to crumble. They lose the grip they thought they had over your spirit, because your silence starves their negativity. Protecting your energy is not just a choice, it is a necessity. Think of your energy as sacred currency. Every word you speak, every reaction you give is like handing away pieces of that currency. When you waste it on meaningless arguments or toxic people, you are left empty, depleted, and disconnected from your true self. But when you choose silence, you are choosing to protect that sacred energy. You are saying, my peace is more valuable than your drama. My spirit is more important than your noise. This does not mean you allow people to walk over you. Silence is not submission. Silence is selection. It is the conscious choice to decide where you invest your words, your thoughts, and your emotions. When you protect your energy, you no longer fight every battle. You no longer chase every argument. You no longer respond to every critic. You become intentional. You save your energy for growth, for love, for peace, for creation, for the things that truly matter. In silence, you create space to hear your own voice again. Too often, the noise of the world drowns out your inner guidance. The opinions of others, the constant distractions, the demands of society, all of these make it difficult to hear your own truth. But when you choose silence, you allow your inner wisdom to rise to the surface. You beg into notice what feels right for you, what aligns with your spirit, and what is worth your energy. Protecting your energy also means protecting your connection with the higher self. Silence opens the door to spiritual clarity. It allows you to step out of reaction and into reflection. Instead of reacting to negativity, you respond with wisdom. Instead of feeding conflict, you feed your soul. Silence turns your focus inward, where the real transformation happens. And in that inward focus, you begin to feel the presence of something greater, guiding you, strengthening you, and lifting you above the noise. Remember this: not every voice deserves your response, not every battle deserves your sword, and not every critic deserves your explanation. Protect your energy by knowing when to speak and when to stay silent. When you guard your spirit, you are untouchable. Those who try to drain you lose their power because your silence cuts off the supply they depended on. And in that moment, you step fully into your strength, you rise above the chaos, and you shine with the light of true inner power, the awakening within. Silence is not just the absence of words, it is the presence of wisdom, strength, and awareness. When you begin to embrace silence, something powerful awakens inside you. You realize that life is not about reacting to every voice, every insult, every challenge that comes your way. It is about choosing where your attention goes and understanding that your peace is far more valuable than their noise. In the beginning, silence feels uncomfortable. The ego wants to speak, to prove, to defend, to argue. Your mind wants to fight back and show others that you are right. But as you practice silence, you begin to see that you do not need to prove yourself to anyone. You are not here to convince others of your worth. You are here to live your truth. That realization is the awakening. It is the moment you stop living for approval and start living from within. Awakening through silence means that you no longer take the bait of negativity. When someone tries to provoke you, you smile inwardly and remain calm. When someone spreads rumors, you let them. When critics speak, you stay still. Why? Because you know the truth. Their words cannot touch your spirit. They cannot diminish your light. Your silence becomes your shield, and it is stronger than any argument could ever be. This awakening also teaches you that not every situation needs your energy. You learn to pick your battles wisely. You learn to walk away with dignity instead of wasting time in chaos. And slowly, you begin to notice a shift. Your mind feels clearer, your heart feels lighter, and your spirit feels freer. This is the reward of silence. It gives you back your power, the power that you once gave away by reacting to every little thing. When you awaken, you no longer see silence as emptiness. You see it as sacred. You see it as the space where you connect with God, the universe, the divine energy that sustains you. You hear the whispers of your higher self guiding you toward purpose, growth, and peace. You understand that silence is not just a pause from the world. It is a doorway into your true essence. And here is the most beautiful part. When you choose silence, those who try to control you lose their grip. They realize their noise has no effect on you. Their attempts to drag you into chaos fail. Their power crumbles because power only exists when you give it attention. By staying silent, you break the chains of manipulation. You become untouchable. So remember, silence is not weakness. It is wisdom. It is self-control. It is inner mastery. The awakening within is the realization that you do not need to shout to be powerful. You do not need to fight to prove strength. You only need to stand in your truth quietly, and that silence will echo louder than any words. And in that silence, you rise higher than you ever thought possible. As we bring this message to a close, let us reflect on what silence truly means in the journey of life and spiritual awakening. Silence is not simply keeping quiet. It is a conscious choice, a powerful declaration that your peace is more valuable than conflict. Your energy is more sacred than chaos, and your growth is more important than winning arguments. When you stay silent, you are not avoiding life, you are mastering it. You are stepping into a higher dimension of strength where your spirit leads and your ego no longer controls you. Think about the people and situations that used to disturb your peace. They thrived because you reacted. Every time you explained, defended, or argued, you gave them fuel. But when you learned to stay silent, everything shifted. Their words began to lose their sting, their noise began to fade, and their power over you disappeared. This is the miracle of silence. It strips away the false power of others and reveals the true power within you. Silence is not emptiness. It is full of wisdom. It teaches you when to act and when to simply let go. It reminds you that not every voice deserves your response, not every critic deserves your attention, and not every battle is worth fighting. When you walk in silence, you walk with clarity. You begin to hear your inner voice more clearly, you reconnect with your higher self, and you feel the divine guiding your steps. This practice of silence is also the beginning of awakening. The world wants you to react, to get lost in noise, to fight every fight. But when you choose silence, you step outside of that cycle. You rise above. You begin to see the bigger picture, that your purpose is greater than petty arguments, your destiny is higher than distractions, and your worth does not depend on proving yourself to anyone. In silence, you discover the art of letting go. You realize that you do not have to say, or carry every burden, answer every insult, or fight every battle. You are free to choose peace. And in choosing peace, you create space for healing, for clarity, and for spiritual growth. Silence becomes your protection, your strength, your wisdom. So let this be your reminder. When you stay silent, they lose the power they thought they had over you. Their noise cannot break you, their chaos cannot reach you, and their attempts to control you cannot succeed. Because your silence is not weakness, it is mastery. It is the quiet roar of strength that does not need to be seen or heard to be felt. Carry this wisdom with you. Protect your energy. Value your peace. And never forget that sometimes the most powerful statement you can ever make is through silence. When you master silence, you master yourself. And when you master yourself, nothing in this world can ever defeat you.